Ivan's Ecstasy, Frankenstein, The Mortal Beloved, one of my favorite films of last year, Traveling Light, Candyman, so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Bernard Rose.
It's wonderful to see a full house for Revolution, finally. So, when Hugh very sadly died suddenly earlier this year in February, I immediately thought, you know, what would Hugh like? And actually, the thing that I thought he would like would be a full house for Revolution. Especially for this, which is the version that he revised with the star of the movie, who is also here, Mr. Al Pacino.
Wonderful thing in honor of our great beloved friend and artist, Hugh Hudson. And so we were talking.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Is this one?
Yes, I think the thing about Revolution that is most unfair is what the French call a film maudit, a damned film.
I beg your pardon. Sort of covers it, because I know that after it had come out, which I didn't have any great expectations anyway, because I knew the kind of shape the film was in at that time. I quit for 4 years. I didn't make the movie. I don't know if it was in protest or anything, but it felt like it was time to stop for a while, and I left the role.
Was that because of the reaction to the movie?
Well, yeah, because I thought it was brought out, and so did you, before it was ready. And that was a part of, I guess, the company wanting to get it out before the award season, whatever. It was opened in December. And it was a series of things. And you hadn't finished it. It needed work. I mean, these things are obvious to any of us who make films, that it ain't over till it's over.
You know, I think also the style of the movie, which now feels very modern, was very much not the style of period pictures of that era.
You're right. And also we had a kind of topic that's rustic and full of that kind of stuff. We had Rambo out there at that time, and Conan, and so those were the movies that were in this. You would call they were on this line, but this wasn't like that. It was a different kind of film. So the expectations were, and I had, of course, I think I had kind of a shock with Scarface, because they wanted to run me out of this country. But that was the thing I'd done before this, so it was time. I felt we needed to really get it over, get it to work, get it to come to its what Hugh Hudson wanted it to be.
So when you guys did this cut that we're going to see tonight, what year was that?
Oh, Thursday.
But it was like 2007 or something, wasn't it? It was many years later.
Yes.
So whose idea was it to revisit it? Was it Hugh or you?
Well, we kept trying to, do a film that was received with such, such a negative reaction. And so I thought, I think it had something also to do with the producers of, what's the English group?
Yeah, Goldcrest.
Goldcrest. I
Yes,
think
they-
it suffered a great deal.
They-
That
they-
company did.
They were in financial trouble,
Yeah.
and they had 3 pictures that had all gone over budget. There was this one, The Mission, and Absolute Beginners. And The Mission was produced by David Putnam, who was
Yeah.
very keen to put all the blame on Hugh for some reason.
I didn't know that.
That was like the bad politics that went on behind the scenes.
Well, something was going on that was upsetting before it came out, and that's always, so, where were we?
What I want to know, Al, is, because I think one of the things that's interesting about Hugh, talking about Hugh, is that he was, he was he came from a good English family. He went to Eton, which is where they sent the royalty to, and he was in a guardsman in the army, and he was everything that you would think of as the sort of archetypal establishment person. But actually, the reason that I was friends with Hugh is that he was a complete anarchist and a hooligan. And only a man who's much more, this is much more his spirit, I think, than Chariots of Fire in a way.
Yes.
Although Chariots of Fire is a very fine film, I think this,
He won the Oscar for
yeah, he did. But
it. This was his third film.
he was an anarchist, Hugh, and he was a troublemaker, and he used to say things to get you in trouble. He
Yes.
once got me to fire some very powerful agents in camp. And he was like, go on, tell them to fuck off. And stupidly I did. And it was something. Did he ever say anything like that to you?
Well, I remember we were in Rome, and he was there. We were in the kitchen of a villa I had on the Appian Way,
Yeah.
and we were deciding whether I should continue doing Godfather Part 3 or not. I quit the film.
You were in the middle of shooting it?
Well, yeah, sort of early on. I don't know when it was. But there was some confusion with things, and it was uncomfortable what was going on. And of course, we were debating it, just talking about it in the middle of the night. And there was that kitchen there. I see it clearly. Diane Keaton was there.
Yes.
And she and I were close at that time, and I remember him saying, "Oh no, Al, you're leaving." She went up like just turned into fire. Just said, "What? No, we finished. It's over. You can't walk off this film." I said, "Well, maybe we can." No, he must. I wish I could do a Hugh Hudson for you. Perfect. And I kept looking at him and wondering, should I follow this guy?
But you had Diane Keaton there to stop you.
Well, Diane,
I should have had that one.
if she wasn't there, I would have, who knows what I would have just, bit the bullet. But also, Monty Gregg on the telephone call to New York from Rome said to me, "Out, get out of that." I mean, it's so easy to say that, I mean, after a while, you just say, "No, you can't do that." It's like
You
this.
can't do that.
Not showing up for tonight, it's just not, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You gotta deal with what you got there. I never quit anything, really. I don't think.
I don't think you're the opposite of a quitter because you were there doing the voiceover for the
Oh yeah, well, we had to say, how would we just try to complement it a little bit, get it to where, I remember being on set once in the middle of scenes, and I'm thinking, I even mentioned to you at the time, I said, I think this is a silent film. Is that? And it explained a lot between all of a sudden the screen goes black and there's writing about what is going on. It's a history film. But it's so much more than that, and it meant so much to him and to me, finally, playing this kind of character that was certainly new to me, but had a kind of energy to it, a certain please.
And, you know, I think it's really worth pointing out that the film was very unfairly treated, and I think people would have viewed it differently if it came out now. Timing is everything,
Yes.
but the style of it is much more like the later films of Terrence Malick, and it has a documentary feel to it. You know, Hugh Hudson started making documentaries before he was even in advertising.
Yes.
People think of him as a guy who was in advertising.
Yeah.
He was also a documentary filmmaker.
Yes.
And so there's that influence. And in fact, I think the new version here, when it came out finally, I have it here, the review was re-reviewed by Philip French, who was in the UK, was a major critic on a big paper they called The Observer, and he said, Revolution was misunderstood and unjustly treated on its first appearance 20 years ago. Seeing it again in the director's slightly revised version, it now strikes me as a masterpiece, profound, poetic, and original. So I think that what we're going for here is a little rehabilitation of the reputation of this picture.
Yeah, it's put well. Now I know why I'm here. Oh, for the love of Hugh Hudson, though, I must say, I loved him. He was I just can't say enough about him. Every time I went to London, I would only go if I knew he was around, I could see him. And he was here too, and we would visit. And the struggle was to try to find a way to take the film a little bit, to give it, because the work had to be done in the editing room, it had to be done where, you know, but we couldn't get there. But we were able to put something together. That's what you're gonna see it. And I'm gonna see it. I don't know, I haven't seen it in 20 years or something. But it's great that you're all here.
And also, Al, obviously the film and the shock of it, and the shock of Scarface, which of course is now commonly known as a masterpiece.
Yeah.
But the shock of those things stopped you working for 4 years. What started you again?
Wow. You know, Diane Keaton said, you can't go to the cupboard anymore, you know, you gotta get out of the house, buddy. But she said it in the most wonderful way, because I had no money. We run out sometimes. And I had to get back, and I knew I had to get back, but I took a risk, you know, it was very helpful. I did some theater, I made my own little film, spent all my money on that. And I learned things, and it was great being it's interesting how soon people forget. You know, and I was walking through Central Park, because I was on my 4th year, and some guy came up to me and he said, Al. I said, hey, hi. He said, where are you? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you're not making films? What happened? No, I said, I haven't been for a while. He said, get up there, man! We need you! I just looked. I knew I really had to go. It was a need to pay the rent. So it was still good. I went to Marty Bregman, my old producer. I said, and we had Sea of Love. That was the film I did. Woo. Yeah. Dick Tracy, on and on. I had the incredible comeback. Remember comeback kid? I'm going too far. This is wonderful to be in a room with people talking about a film that meant so much to you and meant so much to me. It really did, and it had a significant effect on both our lives. Let's face it, especially his. He was the one that had to cope with so many of those things because he was the master. He's the one that made it. It was his vision. And that's what you'll see tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's really the whole point, isn't it? That sometimes the things that go down easily when they first come out sometimes don't last. As I think it was John Cocteau who said, the most beautiful flowers are the ones that open slowly.
Yeah. You know, you can't make judgments really until a film has been around for 10, 15 years. You see it again, 20. And then you see a film that I'm interested in that. I see films all the time. I like them. I want to see them, sometimes great ones. And then you're often surprised how good they are. And also you're often surprised how I liked this better when I first saw it, kind of thing. Because films are part of, I've always said they were somewhat more fashion. They were into the fashion, meaning really what we are doing at the time, what our world is handling in terms of how to deal with certain kinds of films that will be made today, because they're in the vein of today. And this wasn't, I guess, but it still wasn't a complete film. You know, that's the problem. So it's an oxymoron.
Well, I think it's got to that point then, but we should look at it, don't you think?
No, I want to stay talking here. Because
Because Al needs to get the seat.
what?
Yeah, can you say something for a second?
Oh, yeah. Don't get up and rush me.